Rockets.
Hello and welcome to episode 80 of Two Man Game with Damon and Dom. I'm Damon, that's Dom, and you are the listener. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube. If you're on Spotify, leave 5 stars on either platform. Share with everyone and every way that you know how. Episode 80, June 15th at the time of this recording, and we have a 2-2 final series. Dom, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. I was not watching this game, but I was keeping tabs with it. I was out with some friends Friday night and I saw the Pacers were winning. I was like, "Oh man, we're going to have a 3-1." I'm excited for the Pacers, but that's not as fun. And then it became 2-2. I was like, game 7 seemed more of a possibility. And if there's a game 7, I'm not doing anything that day unless game 7 might be the day of my show. So that's mostly what my day is concerned with is my band has a big show this Friday for our new album. But I'm doing good. I called my dad today. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there, everyone who is a father figure, everyone who takes care of people. We appreciate you. So thank you. And yeah, I talked with him. That was great. And although I talked to him like every other day anyways. So it's just, hey, happy Father's Day. What are you up to anyways?
Right.
But yeah, no, no, I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm doing well as well. It's been a good series of days, I think. A nice weekend coming to an end here. Basketball has been great. Can't complain much otherwise. But yeah, we have a lot to talk about. Two finals games, but first, a lot of news. You wanna hit us with the nice news, the news jingle? Don't do
Yeah,
one for
it's
every single section.
oh,
Don't.
I am front office news, front office news, front
Oh
o-
God.
and
Um,
now it begins.
So, Hawks GM, a name I don't want to try to pronounce. Last name Sala, I know that because there's a football coach with that name. Hired Pelicans GM Bryson Graham to be the vice president of basketball operations, and then 76ers executive Peter Dinwiddie, senior vice president of strategy and analytics. So just two guys that have been in the NBA for a while doing front office things. Does it really mean anything? I don't know. Um, Maybe that will be a new voice and they'll make some moves, perhaps. We'll
Any
see.
any relation to Spencer Dinwiddie?
I think so. And I looked at a picture of him. I was like, he looks like he's related to Spencer Dinwiddie.
Gotcha.
And it can't be that common of a last name, I would imagine.
Yeah, no, I don't think so either. I don't know anyone else with that last name.
Yeah.
This next piece of news I found pretty amusing. The New York Knicks requested permission to speak to Atlanta Hawks head coach Quinn Snyder, Timberwolves head coach Chris Finch, Rockets head coach Ime Udoka, Mavs head coach Jason Kidd about their head coaching vacancy, and they were denied by all teams. Duh. They did successfully schedule meetings with Taylor Jenkins and Mike Brown, which makes sense because they're not the head coach of a team right now. I know we talked about that last time. You mentioned that Jason Kidd was a rumor, and the rumor was true, but looks like there is no interest whatsoever for him to be coach of the Knicks. And you know, um, yeah, I didn't really see a world where they were like, yeah, you know what? Yeah, 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 no, go interview.
You can have our head coach,
You can
sure.
have our head coach. Yeah, yeah, we totally didn't put time and effort into him or anything. So. Interesting to see what happens through that. If the Knicks go with one of these guys, or maybe someone who's little less tested, but has been in the league for a while. Who knows? So
I saw
we'll see.
a couple funny posts about the Bucks. It said like Doc Rivers and the Bucks gave permission to the Knicks to interview Doc Rivers and Darvin Ham. The Knicks denied. So the other way, but I thought that was also amusing.
That's also amazing. I know. Yeah, Doc Rivers and Darvin Ham are not high up on my list of head coaches ever,
Wow.
really.
Wow, wow,
Um,
wow.
okay. Is
Hater.
is is that am I crazy for that? Am I crazy
Lakers hates Darvin Ham. Lakers fan hates Darvin Ham.
You know what's even crazier? We got some contract news. Contract news.
Great. Yeah, Steven Adams for my Houston Rockets signed a 3-year, $39 million extension. I like the deal, $13 million a year for essentially a backup center, but sometimes they do play him and Şengün. There's a bunch of crazy stats about his offensive rebound percentage. It's like the highest in the NBA every season. 'Cause he gets down there and he's really strong. So that's great. I love Steven Adams, always have. So I'm totally fine with that.
Do you think this is a good contract to use in trade talks? Do you think that could be a reason why it's as big as it is?
Um, Not necessarily. I mean, I feel like if T like you mean, if teams are trying to trade with the Rockets, he's not a guy they're gonna want, but in terms of like, if we give them two young guys and then throw his contract in to fulfill the requirements of the money matching, yeah, I guess I can see that. I'm trying to think who else we even have like that on our team. I mean, I know Fred's gonna have a big contract. Dylan Brooks has kind of a big contract. Those are kind of the other two people I think of.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I could see that. I don't think that was like the reason it was made, but I could see them throwing him into a deal if necessary.
Yeah, I also think that the Rockets want to keep him around. I mean, this signing him now, they could have waited for, I think he would be a restricted free agent. They could have
Hmm.
waited. But they're doing it now, obviously, I think because they want to lock him in, which makes sense. But I think also this is a good contract to kind of use to kind of as cap filler. That's mostly what I was thinking. But yeah, welcome back, Steven Adams, to the Houston Rockets. Uh,
WB,
pod favorite, Russell Westbrook, declined his
sir.
player option and will be an unrestricted free agent this offseason. Do you remember how big his player option was?
Not big. I think it was like $3.4 million or something.
Yeah, so I think he wants something bigger. Do you think he will get it?
I mean, I think, his play for the Nuggets down the stretch of the season and in the playoffs definitely earned like a bigger contract. I guess the thing I'm a little confused about is that it felt like, after bouncing from team to team over the last couple of years, this felt like he kind of had a role here and kind of belonged. So worried. Yeah, I don't think he's necessarily just like, I want to go somewhere with money. Maybe him and the Nuggets will work out a deal
Yeah.
that's a little better than the 3.4 he was going to get for this 1 year. I don't think it's totally like I'm just going to decline this and go to whoever gives me the most money. Maybe he just wanted some long-term security. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I can totally see the Nuggets being like Nuggets bring back Russell Westbrook on a 2-year $8 million deal or something, or a 2-year $10 million deal,
Right.
something like that. Uh, and yeah, I was a little confused by that too because I thought he found a home, but I'm sure he'll probably just get more from the Nuggets, although they are pretty tight in the cap. So
Yeah.
we
Yeah,
will
yeah.
see. And next is everybody's favorite trade news.
Oh,
Trade news.
okay. I like that. Um,
No, you don't.
so let's let's talk about some trade rumors. Kevin Durant and the Suns there apparently have met to sort through trade options. I believe it was the team meeting with Rich Kleiman, who is Kevin Durant's agent. The interested teams in the KD sweepstakes are apparently the Rockets, the Spurs, the Wolves, the Heat, and the Knicks. So those seem to be the top five teams that want Kevin Durant, according to reports. But KD announced his preferred destinations being the Heat, the Spurs, and the Rockets. So two Texas teams and then the Miami Heat. I don't think the Heat have anything to get Kevin Durant, so I don't know. And I'm not really sure why he'd want to go there because they're not very good. So that one I'm a little confused about. The Spurs and Rockets definitely make sense to me. I think both of those teams have assets to acquire Kevin Durant and still be competitive. So I can see the appeal there. Personally, as a Rockets fan, I don't want us to trade for Kevin Durant. Not anything against him. I just think he's old. He's too old. I think it kind of locks you in a tight, maybe 2 year, 3 year window at most. And I would just worry that we'd give up some long-term future stuff for a very short window. That's why I'm more interested in like guys like Giannis, although all reports about Giannis lately have been that he's going to stay in Milwaukee. Or even like if the Suns wanted to trade Devin Booker, like I'm not a huge Devin Booker fan, but he aligns more with the Rockets' timeline. Guys like that make more sense to me. Um, so I kind of hope the Rockets don't trade for him. We'll see.
Yeah, so you're kind of in the boat. Like, I'd rather miss out on KD for the chance at getting a younger superstar, maybe. And
Yeah,
but if that doesn't happen, like if you don't get Giannis, then you're fine with like the Rockets running it back, maybe adding some like veteran pieces or something.
yeah,
Okay. Yeah, I would like KD on the Spurs or the Rockets if he didn't take up so much cap. Like if he
yeah.
would like come in and take like less money. I'm not saying like 5 million, like a but I think he's locked in for a couple of years, at least in the contract he has now, and it is a big one because it's Kevin Durant. Yeah, I'm curious to see where he'll end up. I would kind of like to see him if there's a way, Timberwolves.
The Wolves would be. I was thinking the Wolves would be the most fun team.
Yeah, I think that would be if there's a way to get Julius Randle to the Suns to want Julius Randle and then maybe some pieces, but they'll definitely want like a Jaden McDaniels and I'm like, I don't know
Don't
if
want to
I
give up Jaden McDaniels. Don't
yeah,
want to do that.
definitely don't want to do that. So we'll see. But Kevin Durant, it's going to be an interesting offseason. We'll see where he ends up. The Heat made no sense to me. Maybe does he have a relationship with Eric Spoelstra? But even then,
I mean, I think the most appeal is just being in Miami, I
yeah,
guess. Like that's the best part. But team
yeah,
wise, yeah, I don't know what you're doing over there.
yeah. And maybe he's just like, I just want to end up there and then end my career
And
there.
then retire
Like,
and live in Miami.
hey,
It's
I Miami. Have you been to Miami?
no, I've never been.
Miami is not. Okay. It's an okay city. I'll tell you that much. It is hot. It is humid, and there are other cities with the exact same stuff. So
Used to that.
yeah, exact. But Austin has, I feel like, more anyways to do. There's also more nature, and
Yeah,
anyways, we can talk about Miami on off season pod or like one of
sure.
our off season pods.
Yeah.
Um, no, yeah. This next trade. I saw this morning and I was like, why is this happening? So here we go. Sorry, I said my opinion before I even said the trade. Desmond Bane of the Memphis Grizzlies has been traded to the Orlando Magic for Kentavious Caldwell Pope, Cole Anthony, a first round pick swap in 2029, and four unprotected first round picks. Number 16 in 2025, so that's coming up. Phoenix's 2026 pick, Orlando's 2028 and 2030 picks. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. Actually I had a text from you and Jared when I woke up today. Uh and I was like I think the text from Jared said like is Desmond Bane that good? And I was like, what happened? I'm confused. So then I went and looked it up. Um the gut punch reaction, surprise reaction is that's a lot, right? That's the first thing I would think. And I would say that myself as well as you probably are both Desmond Bane fans on this podcast. We like Desmond Bane. We think that he does good work for the mighty Memphis Grizzlies, not anymore. Great shooter. Um, Good like secondary, tertiary option. So great player. It's just four unprotected first. Whew, that's a lot. Um, Especially because like I don't know. I'm trying to think what do the Magic think in terms of like what does this accomplish? Like, do they think this launches them into kind of an upper echelon East team? Do they see what the Pacers are doing and how they got to the finals? And they're like, the Pacers can get to the finals with that team? Okay, maybe with this we can, make a move like that. Um, but when you kind of break it down, it doesn't actually sound that bad. Number 16 in this year's draft, that's kind of whatever. Um, they have a lot of random young guys in that roster that don't play already. Like Anthony Black doesn't play that much. Jet Howard has barely
Jet
played at
Howard,
all.
yeah.
Tristan Da Silva, I believe, was the rookie this year. He hasn't played much. They have a lot of young guys already. Um, so then I don't mind it that much. And then I guess in their mind, at 2028, 2030, 2029 for the swap, they'll be good enough that those picks will be, 20s ish, and they're not that great anyways. Um, KCP was terrible for them this year. Supposed to be good and just wasn't. Desmond Bane fits the timeline a lot more, so I do like that with the Paulo and Franz. Cole Anthony, they lose a bench scorer, but they kind of already have, their point guard position locked up with Anthony Black and Jalen
Jalen
Suggs.
Suggs, yeah,
Kind of
yeah.
run their guard position, so it's like they don't really need him anyways. And then, the other side for the Grizzlies, I don't know what this means for them. I don't know what they're planning. I don't know. if they have given up. This is like a rebuilding move with all the picks and stuff. So I don't know. Like they just couldn't pass up the value of the trade. I'm not sure. This feels like they're calling the towel on like the current Jared Jackson Jr. era, or maybe they're trying to retool somehow. I don't know. It's confusing for me though.
Yeah, I'm wondering if they are doing this because they didn't they already Desmond Bane's already locked into a max contract or a super max. You remember?
It's a max. He hasn't made
Max.
an All NBA or anything like that.
Yeah,
So
so it's a max. So he's already locked in, so maybe it's the Grizzlies looking to save money. But the thing is, the only other players that are on max contracts are John Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr. And you're not worried about Santi Aldama's not getting a max contract. I like him. You know what I mean? Like you don't have to worry
right,
about
right,
that.
right.
So I don't understand that for the Grizzlies why you did that because that was my first reaction. Also, and also for the Magic, can you remind me how many people are already on max contracts or about to be? You got Paolo, Franz, Jalen Suggs just signed one. Um, didn't also get like a really big one too?
Not definitely not a max. I think it was like a 4 year, 48 or something like that.
Okay, I thought it was bigger, but that's three huge contracts, and now you're adding a fourth one. It's like this has
Get that
gotta.
core locked up though.
Yeah, no, the core is great. I mean, you look at it on paper, so your starting lineups: Jalen Suggs, Desmond Bane, Paolo Banchero, Franz Wagner, and Wendell Carter Jr. I mean, not bad.
Need a
I
better
like.
center, but
Yeah, I like it for the Magic. I think the package was too big because basically the Grizzlies just got him for picks. If I'm being honest,
mhm.
because KCP like because of last year is if it's an indicator of things to come. Like if he can actually shoot league average or better, then I like it for the Grizzlies. But they already have Luke Kennard. They already have shooters over there. But for the Magic. They needed help scoring. We saw that in the playoffs. Paolo is he can create for himself, but he's kind of he's slower. Like he's still young. He's still like working on it. Franz is off and on. Jalen Suggs was out, so Desmond Bane's a good option to have.
Oh yeah, one of the
To
best
kind
shooters
of
in the league, and they needed
yeah.
shooting.
Yeah,
So
so I like it at the end of the day. There's pros and cons to both. I mean, but it just really blows my mind that the Grizzlies would do this, if I'm being honest. And they didn't really
yeah,
even get back a young player. They got picks, but they didn't get back like an Anthony Black or someone to back up like Ja or I don't know who else is on there that's good, like a Jet Howard or something. So
yeah. I mean, maybe they repackage some of these assets, and trade for another star or something like that, if
yeah.
that's what they want to do. Yeah. Well, I think maybe this is a kind of a wait and see for the Grizzlies to see what they're going to do here. This doesn't seem like this is our trade and this is how we're going into next season.
Yeah, yeah, because
Um,
they're basically worse. They're definitely worse
yeah,
if this is it. So
seems like there will be more to come from them. Another interesting asset of this that I didn't really think about until we were talking about it kind of resets the trade market here before the offseason because the last big trade that happened was the Luca trade, and it was just Luca for Anthony Davis, and it was very weird. And before that, I can think of like the Mikal Bridges trade was like really big. They traded a bunch of picks for him, right? So
and
this kind
Rudy
of puts that
Gobert, yeah.
Rudy Gobert, yeah, this puts that kind of back on the map. So that'll be interesting to see how it affects other trades potentially this offseason.
That's a really good point. I didn't even think about that. It's like, yeah, if the Grizzlies were buyers or seller, like now what are you know what I mean? And same
Hmm.
Magic, like now that they already bought, so maybe they're not interested in others. So yeah, it's interesting. This is what I love about the off season. But yeah, that's a trade.
That's a trade.
That's a
You
trade.
want to get us into the next
Injury news.
thanks.
Yeah.
Jaylen Brown had surgery on his right knee, and then apparently I remember the reports that it was acting up at the end of the season and then going into the playoffs. But he's expected to be ready by trading camp, so nothing crazy or anything like that. Just some offseason rehab for him.
Yeah, hopefully he's back in time for training camp. I mean, Tatum's going to be out for a while, so they definitely need him on the court.
Yeah,
Darius Garland underwent surgery for a great toe injury and will be out for 4 to 5 months, likely missing the beginning of next season. There's a lot of deliberation between Damon and I what a great toe is. And we want you to drop down in the chat. What do you think a great toe is? I'm
Yeah,
assuming they meant big toe, or
I
maybe
have
the
no
great
idea.
toe is the pinky toe.
Uh, Maybe it's a combination of toes.
Because multiple toes, the great
Yeah,
toe. Your foot is a great toe. It's just one toe. Anyways, yeah, so Darius Garland will be out for a bit. We'll see what happens there.
probably not getting traded. Um, if there were any trade rumors revolving around him, those are
I
probably
guess.
gone.
That does
Uh,
make sense. Yeah, I'm more of a fan of the Jared Allen to the Lakers. I'm just putting that out and I'm just putting that in the
for
universe. It
what?
won't happen. No, 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 no. They just give it to us. They just give them to us.
Gabe Vincent, you know.
Gabe Vincent and Bronny.
I'm
Okay.
talking about your starting point guard next year, like that.
I know. I'm so sorry. We're going from injury news to league news, league news, league news.
Yeah, I saw on I think it was on a podcast, Adam Silver confirmed that in the 2026, the new All-Star Game edition, I think there's been three different All-Star games since we've been doing this podcast. So last year they did the horrible, like, four-team scrimmage thing. That was terrible. This year, the 2026 All-Star Game, USA versus World. Whoa. Thoughts?
I hate this. Out of all of them, this is the one I hate the most. Because it doesn't even, the world's gonna win. The last few MVPs have been all not US. And it's also, it's just, I liked it USA versus World when it was like first and second year players, like there was they used to have a game like that.
hmm
Um, but it doesn't make sense for the All-Star game. Like, what if your all stars? So now, what you have to like have like 10 World and 10 US? What if they don't deservedly be like? What if the US doesn't have enough good play? Like, I don't get that. I don't get how they're gonna are they gonna change it, or they're just gonna be, hey, like we're gonna vote for all stars like we used to, but now it's gonna be like if it's like 25 total and like 15 are the World, it'll be 15 versus 10. Like I don't understand.
it'll be 24, it'll be 12 and 12, and that 12th guy on the USA or world roster might not be great. Maybe. Um, so yeah. I mean, I could think of, you know, I could think of a lot of world people that come straight to mind. Shea, Luca, Giannis, Jokic, um, lots of guys. And then USA is like, I feel like a lot of the guys are older. LeBron,
Old,
KD,
right?
Steph,
Yeah.
those guys are pretty old. But you have the Ants, the Tyreses of the world as
Jason
well. So
Tatum, sure,
yeah,
yeah.
he's gonna be out all next year. But yeah,
Yeah, but I still I don't like this. Is just makes no sense to me. It
it
makes no.
it's bad.
Yeah,
I knew you thought it was bad, and you said I would rather do the draft.
yeah.
I liked the draft. I thought the draft was fine. I
This
thought
makes the draft look like it's perfect, like nothing better.
the
Like there's
draft
no.
was better than what we did last year, and it's gonna be better than
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
Uh,
See, I think there's just no really good. There have been no good alternatives, so the draft is looking like the best one. And if you're listening and you don't remember, the draft is basically there's a pool of all stars, two captains, and the captains basically it was like a pickup basketball game right before, and you would just pick your players, which was cool. Wasn't Jokic picked last?
I think he was like the second to last starter one year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's so funny to me. Anyways, so yeah, Adam Silver did that. I don't know why. But in other news, we talked about them already, but the Orlando Magic, we didn't bring it up last time, forgot to add it to the notes, but the Orlando Magic have rebranded. They've updated their logo and uniforms for this upcoming season. So I will try to describe the main logo is now it's circular like a lot of the ones in the league right now, like the Raptors one reminds me a lot of that, or like the Detroit Pistons, just a circle. You have Orlando on the top, Magic on the bottom, Stars kind of to the left, and a blue basketball in the middle. They have alternative logos as well. It's just a basketball with like some stars next to it, but basically it's circular or spherical. Circular. It's not for 3D. It's two dimensional. They also unveiled new uniforms, which are brought back the pinstripes. We got the
Hmm.
pinstripes back. We got blue pinstripe. We got blue uniform with white pinstripes. We got the white uniform with the black or blue pinstripes. I can't really
I think
tell.
it's black.
Black. And then we have a hybrid
Then we got the
uniform that
worst one.
is, yeah, it's like from the chest down, it's black with white pinstripes, which is sick. And then the very top, for whatever reason, they made it just solid blue. No stripes. So there's just stripes from the chest down. So it looks like he's kind of
It's
wearing like
tough.
overalls. It's like overalls and
Mm.
then his like I don't know, like a shirt on top, which looks terrible. Um yeah, and I put a in our notes, I put like a kind of evolution of the Orlando Magic logo.
Hmm.
And if I'm being honest, I kind of like it more than the one before. I never was a big fan of that one, but I really don't love that they're all NBA teams now are going for that circle. They're all going circular, and it's so boring and uninspiring. And I want to know your thoughts.
Yeah. I think it's an interesting kind of amalgamation of their previous logos. Is kind of what it looks like. This graphic you put with the logos, I feel like, it's not, and maybe it wasn't their primary logo. I was thinking about the logo they had when we were kids, where it was like just the words Orlando Magic, but like the star was the A.
That was
And
an
that's how
alternative logo.
I
So
see.
these are the main logos. Yeah.
I see. And they have that kind of on their jersey now, kind of a throwback to that. Um, So that's fine. I think the current new logo is, yeah, it's a little boring, like you said, with the circular and the basketball. I think the Hawks one kind of like is like this. It's just the Hawk and it says like Atlanta Hawks Basketball Club or something like that. Um, I was fine with the Magic Comet kind of looking logo. I thought it was okay. Um, I like the blue uniforms. I like the white uniforms. I hate the black ones. They look abysmal with that blue thing on the top. I don't know about that. Um, I also thought their uniforms last year that they had some stripe uniforms that they wore, like the blue with the black stripes.
So their classic edition was that, but it also the blue had like a lot of stars, like a print on it too, if you
Mm,
look close. So that was their classic edition last year. So I think because of how well that turned up, because everyone loved it, I think
hmm.
that was probably their like soft launch of like I think we're gonna do it this next season. We're gonna go back to the pinstripes. So it was kind of like to just kind of feel out the waters. And obviously, it's sick. But why
Yeah,
couldn't they just do the black jersey? I get it. You have two uniforms already, just pinstripes all the way up and down. I get it. You're like a third one. Let's make it a little different. Why did you have to cut it in half? Like basically, like you're like three-fourths of it is pinstripes and the top is solid. It's just
yeah,
if it was all black, it'd be look like the Shaquille O'Neal magic, you know? It
yeah.
looks, yeah. Anyways, yeah.
Yeah, I think the logo could have been better though.
Yeah, I don't hate the one in the middle. There's a blue one. It's the blue with
Hmm.
like stars on it, and like it also looks a lot like the Heat one. Like the Heat is just a basketball with flames, so it's like instead of flames, it's stars. Like okay, um, but the star with the A as an A on the Magic in Orlando is a dub. That's cool.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Sure.
like I like that a lot for sure.
Yeah,
Um, Yeah, we're having a logo crisis in the NBA for sure.
we sure
The
are.
thing I will say about the Raptors one, at least the basketball has the claw in it, and that looks cool. Like it's
It's a
appealing
fun
to the
detail.
eyes.
Yeah,
But yeah, some of them are just like, okay, this is boring.
yeah.
Um,
I think they're all just trying to be really safe, and that's why I miss those '90s logos, early 2000s logos. Those were crazy. Like, and everyone loves them because they were so crazy and insane. And now, but if you look at companies across the globe, they just want something that's simple to look at and like has one or two colors and gradients were really big like 2 years ago. Finally, that phased out. And I think the NBA is now like, oh, if we're gonna update logos, we also should be really crisp and clean. And I'm like, why not have fun with it?
it's also they made it a requirement if you redesign your logo that you have to have a basketball in it.
Wait, really?
Yeah, so your options are a little limited in that regard.
Basketballs are circular, so it's like, what else are you gonna do?
Yeah, so
There's not a football and all the. Why did they do that? That doesn't make any sense.
I don't know. It's a weird choice, but
There's not a baseball in every baseball. There's not a football in every football. What the heck? Come on, Miss. Come on, Adam. Let's
Mr.
talk.
Silver, what do you
Mr. Silver, we gotta
do?
talk. Um, you know what else we gotta talk about?
What's that?
It's the finals. It's the finals. It's the finals update. Finals update. Echo, echo, echo. Anyways,
Well, do you
finals
make
update.
music or something?
No,
Oh, okay.
I make bops. I make bangers.
Oh, I
Oh, you like that? You're gonna like this. Finals update, game three. Here we go. So, admittedly, I think I mentioned this at the top of the podcast. I missed a lot of game four. I actually caught basically none of it. I was just checking the score. Game three, I was able to catch the beginning, and then I had to go somewhere. I don't. Oh no, game three, I watched. I watched all of game three. I watched that Buffalo Wild Wings.
Yeah,
I
I
remember
was
that.
gonna say,
Yeah,
didn't you text me that you watched this at Buffalo Wild
yeah.
Wings?
I dragged two of my friends to go. Shout out Nico and Travis. You guys loved it. You know you did. Yeah, but game three was really fun, good game. Like I really
Hmm.
enjoyed just watching it. It was pretty close most of the whole time, and it was going back and forth. But the Pacers were able to win in the end, and they were just able. Their defense, I gotta say, like this game, if you want to watch like just a defense lock in, the Pacers fourth quarter are that defense that just everything clicked for them. It was incredible to watch. They forced a lot of turnovers, and they got their offense going because they got out in transition for the first time a lot this series. TJ McConnell, crazy stat. TJ McConnell, he became the first player to record 5 steals off the bench in a finals game since Ray Allen in 2014. Also, I didn't know Ray Allen came off the bench for the Heat. What? Really?
Yeah, because it was Chalmers, Dwayne Wade, LeBron, Chris Bosh, and then like Chris Anderson or whoever
Yeah,
was
okay.
their
That
starting center.
that makes sense now. I forgot they had like 3 All-Stars, so um that makes sense. He came off. Miles Turner had 5 blocks. He was doing like amazing defense on Chet Holmgren later in the game because Chet he started the game pretty well if I remember. Like he was
Yeah,
scoring pretty easily, so he kind of Miles Turner kind of locked in, was able to prevent him from getting easy looks and stuff like that. And um, it really was a defensive clinic. Tyrese Halliburton was really aggressive early on in the offense, penetrating, kicking out, maybe doing a little floater here and there, but he was creating opportunities for his teammates, and that's what he does best because he is so lethal in so many different ways. So I'm glad he's not just penetrating and immediately jumping and then kicking out. It drives me crazy. These jump passes. Have we talked about them?
no, no, yeah,
The
they're
Pacers
wild.
love jump passes. And I'm gonna tell you right now, it is not good in any NBA game to do jump passes. You will have more turnovers usually than people catching the ball. Although it worked out this game.
Everyone jump pass.
Yeah, it's been crazy to watch for sure. But you know who else was crazy to watch? Benedict Mathurin. He came to life. He dropped 27 off the bench in just 22 minutes. He's the third player since 1990 under 23 to score 27 in an NBA Finals game.
Who are the other two, Dominicus?
LeBron James.
Yeah, I don't even remember. I typed this and I don't remember. I remember one of them. I don't think
Oh,
that's
was it
LeBron.
Kobe? It was Kobe.
Kobe is one of them.
And I think the other
Uh,
was Michael Jordan. No,
I don't remember.
no, not off the
Oh,
bench.
I do remember. I think.
Okay.
No, I don't.
Yeah, I okay, one was Kobe, and then the other was it wasn't LeBron, it wasn't Michael Jordan. I remember that. Um, coming off the bench. Who do you
No,
remember?
no.
Who?
This is not the off the bench one. This is the under 23 years old one.
Oh, under 23. I would say LeBron then. I'm probably wrong though.
Yeah, I don't remember. I do remember the bench one, I think. Read the bench
Yeah,
stat.
I'm gonna keep going. Yeah, so he's the third player in the 2000s to drop 25 plus off the bench in an NBA Finals game. So who are the other two
Yeah,
off the bench? I
I
don't
don't
know
know.
bench players. Kyle Korver.
It's a good guess.
Is it
One of them is a Mavs player.
Jason Terry?
Jason Terry. There you go.
Yo, what? Really? He's like the first Mavericks player I think of. That's, not Dirk, obviously.
The other
Uh,
one is another Texas player.
okay, Trace McGrady,
Nope.
Steve
Tracy
Francis.
McGrady. Tracy McGrady never made it out the first round.
Oh, this is
Um,
finals in a finals
finals.
game. Oh, it's got to be like Mono Ginobili or
Manu
something.
Ginobili. There you
Oh,
go.
no, are you serious? What the
Yeah.
heck?
The other name, by the way, under 23 to score 27 in a finals game, also a Spurs player. Still in the league, not on the Spurs anymore.
Okay. I
20,
must
2014 Finals MVP.
Kawhi Leonard
Kawhi Leonard.
under 23, really?
Yeah, he was young in the those early Spurs finals teams against the Heat.
And he got MVP too. That's crazy.
Yeah, for locking up LeBron
Wow, that's crazy.
as
Well,
much as you
congrats to
can lock up LeBron.
yeah, congrats to Vintage Matherin because that's an insane stat to have, and he's so young, and I feel like his time in the league has been a little tumultuous because like he was injured all last year. He wasn't able to kind of be there for the run in the conference finals, and now he's there and he's playing really well. He also came in with a lot of really cocky and things like that. I don't think people that rub people the wrong
LeBron has to
way.
prove that he's better than me.
Yeah, it's like I don't know.
Remember that?
I think it's the opposite. It's like you got to do it. But he had a great game. The Thunder they shortened their rotation. They only played 8 guys for double-digit minutes in this game. So Shea, he played 42 minutes, but he only attempted 17 shots, which is not like him. The Pacers also did a really good job of not making sure the ball would get in his hands and also not fouling him as much. So he didn't go to the foul line as much as you would have expected.
Yeah.
And then Chet started the game really well, but he kind of teetered off. J Dub had good runs for being aggressive, but it just wasn't enough. Again, like what I really have been enjoying about these finals, it seems like the first 3 quarters are basically evenly matched. They're like neck
hmm
and neck the whole time. Then the fourth quarter, one team makes a decision. They're like, okay, we're gonna lock in on defense this time, or the other team's like, we're gonna lock, and then that is really. I mean, the Thunder had so many turnovers. I remember watching Game 3, just passes like the Pacers would make a layup. Alex Caruso would go out of bounds, throw it in. TJ McConnell would steal it, make a layup, and then like it was a lot of mistakes happening over and over again. And they weren't correcting them when they would have these timeouts and stuff, and they would go on runs, but just wasn't enough. The Pacers were the better team in Game 3. Game 4 though was a different story, and I'm gonna have my main man Damon take over for Game 4.
That's what they call me, Damon, main man. Yeah, it was another great game. Three great games so far in the finals. Game two is really the only one where it was a little out of hand the whole time. But game was close pretty much the whole time. The Pacers had kind of a lead for most of this game. And I'll get to that in a second. But the Thunder did end up coming back, winning at the end, tying the series 2-2. Both of their primary ball handlers kind of were bothered early on in the game. SGA by Nimhard, which is interesting because Nimhard hadn't really been a primary defender on anyone in this playoffs, at least the other team's like best player. But for SGA, he seems to work the best. Um, so they were getting the ball out of his hands again, just like they did in game three. And then Halliburton was just swarmed by Lou Dort. Lou Dort has been a menace to him pretty much all series, but in this game in particular, um, getting very physical with him, causing him to get the ball in his hands. But Jalen Williams again was aggressive, got to the paint early on. I think he finished the game with like 27, and then Siakam had a really good first half for the Pacers as well. Not so much in the second half, but their secondary guys kind of helped early on when their primary guys couldn't get the job done. Um, Pacers were leading, like I said, most of the game. Thunder end up closing it out despite making how many total threes, Dominicus, do you think the Thunder made in this game
Um,
in the
I'm going.
2025 NBA Finals?
I'm gonna guess 12.
Three.
See, I was gonna guess low, but I was like, I was gonna say 7, but 3 is incredibly low. That's
Three
insane to me.
total threes, yeah. In 2025, they won an NBA Finals game. Crazy. Um, it was wild. SGA finally took over in the fourth, started scoring clutch buckets when he needed to. Had 35 points and How many assists do you think SGA had?
8.
Zero. And they won this game, which is so wild. I think the Pacers had like I mean, for a while, it was one of those things where it's like impressive that the Thunder were keeping up because the Pacers were having like a really good game. And I think they were like 10 plus threes over the Thunder for most of the game, and the Thunder would only be down like 5 or 6. And it was like, wow, it's wild that they're keeping the game this close because it felt like everything was kind of going right for the Pacers. And then it finally flipped towards the end. Alex Caruso is incredible. He had an incredible game on defense, hustling. Um, I watched him make like a baseline fading jumper, and I was like, okay, I don't I don't know who this player is.
Okay, Kobe. Okay.
It was kind of wild. But he was awesome for them off the bench again. And then talked about Benedict Mathurin for game three. He was awesome. He was awful in game four. He was terrible, and that's what happens with Benedict Mathurin. He has great games and he has terrible games. Um, Down the stretch though, for the Pacers, he committed not one but two off-ball fouls. While the Thunder were like inbounding and stuff,
You're
giving them
joking.
just free points,
Oh
just
my
free
gosh.
throws. Yeah, and he was like, "Come on!" And you look at the replay, and it's like, "Oh yeah, you definitely fouled that guy." Miles Turner, I haven't talked about him for Game Four because he was also good in Game Three. It's terrible. I think 0 for 6 from three. Um, just wide open threes, and I was listening to another podcast, and they said he feels like he doesn't even think his shot's going in, and that's what it looks like. Like he's just no confidence at all right now. He's in a little bit of an offensive slump. So hopefully he can turn that around because they're going to need him. But Obi Toppin looked way better than him. They went to a lot of Obi Toppin Siakam down the stretch instead of Miles Turner. Um, Miles Turner, by the way, starting center for NBA Finals team. How many rebounds do you think he has over the last 2 games total?
Over the last 2 games, I'm gonna say 8.
4.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna. It's not good. That's not good.
It's like Chet didn't have the greatest game, but he had 15 rebounds at least. He was down there
Oh, wow, that's crazy.
grabbing the ball. I mean, that's
Yeah,
important.
that's what.
So,
If you're, and then here's the thing: if you're Miles Turner and you're not doing what you need to do on offense, then you should be
exactly.
really doing what you can any other way of the game, like setting screens while getting rebounds. So yeah, he's got to work on that. I'm curious to see how they, you know,
I,
work
w
on
I
that.
wouldn't be
Or
surprised if Obi Toppin was the starting center in this next game.
that'd be
Because he was
crazy.
awesome. He hit like 2 back-to-back threes. I think the Pacers went up by like 10, like 8 minutes left in the game, and a big part of that was Obi Toppin, and then the Thunder started crawling back.
If you
Aaron
would have told,
Nesmith,
oh,
yeah, go
sorry.
ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, if you would have told me when Obi Toppin got drafted that in 2025 he'd be in the NBA Finals on the Pacers and be sinking threes, I'd call you a liar.
Yeah,
I
not
really would.
exactly what people had on the bingo card for sure.
Now, tell me about Neesmith.
Neesmith, interestingly enough, remember last series when he was like Jalen Brunson's primary defender and was really doing a good job on him? Shea started hunting him at the end of this game. They started going for the Neesmith switch and just getting fouls on Aaron Neesmith, getting to the free throw line, hitting buckets over him. Um, he looked bad on defense at the end of this game, so that was interesting. Go ahead.
Do you think the Thunder called it the knee switch?
No,
Get it?
but thank you for
Sorry. No, 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 no,
that.
no. I just wanted to derail whatever you were trying to say. No, I'm sorry. That's interesting. I obviously wouldn't think that. I wonder, is it his injury is really like messing with him, so he's not able to play defense as well as he has been.
I think, Nimhart has done a really good job of spacing himself appropriately between, away from Shea, not getting too close to where he can just raise up and get that arm contact and that easy foul,
Hmm.
but also being able to contest him enough when needed. I think Neesmith kind of gets into him a little too much, and then the refs call that foul, gets him in foul trouble.
I see.
Um, yeah, that's what it kind of seems like, at least from I'm watching. And speaking of officiating, uh,
What
Scott
happened?
Foster. Scott Foster shouldn't be allowed to be a referee. He's so
What
bad.
what did he do?
It's I will say, first of all, I don't think this game was decided by officiating. I do think it played a part in kind of how the game went down the stretch, but I don't think it was like the reason that the Pacers ended up
Yeah.
losing. I think they had plenty of opportunities to win. Um, but man, it was really inconsistent, you know. There was, I think, three flagrant foul reviews, and none of them. I mean, like the one they ended up calling a flagrant foul was like, really? That's the one that's a flagrant foul? Okay, strange. And then like Obi Toppin gets smacked in the head, and they were like, not a flagrant foul, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. It was just weird, and like there's a lot of physicality, I think, in this series, as expected of an NBA final series. And I feel like early in the game, people were kind of getting relatively physical, just keeping hands on each other, blah, blah, blah. Then late in the game, that same stuff is happening, but it now is starting to become a foul. So it's just like inconsistent throughout the game. If whatever you decide as a referee, however physical you're going to allow the players to be, I feel like you have to keep up for the whole game. And that didn't seem to be the case. It seemed like it was kind of going all over the place, in terms of how physical players were allowed to be. Which also made me think, like, I understand that this is probably easier said than done, and there's probably a reason they do this. Um, why not have the same officiating crew for a whole series so that like the players kind of get used to how they're allowed to play throughout the course of a series with the same group of guys? I get that you probably want to divvy it up for variety purposes. I get you probably want to pay multiple referees for things like this, but why don't we just get three awesome referees for the whole finals, and then they kind of establish how it's going to go in game one, and then the players do like that for the whole series. Because right now it's like every game is a different group of guys, and it's like a different set of rules that you get to play with every game, which is kind of strange.
Yeah, I wonder if another reason why they don't do that is they don't want the referees to have their own personal whoever, if there's a player they like or a team they root for, like if it's what if someone like secretly really loves the Thunder and then they're the referee for 7 games, you know what I mean? Because
I
the
mean, I
thing
feel like
is,
that's supposed to be like a general referee thing, right? Like you can't be biased in refereeing.
for sure, but I feel like if you divvy it up, then it's a lot harder for like one referee to make sure this one team wins, you know? Like if that
Hmm.
if and obviously if you're being picked for the finals as a referee, you trust these guys the most.
Right.
That these I shouldn't say guys because they're also women. I don't know if there's have there been a woman referee
In the
yet for the
finals,
finals.
I don't think so.
Gotcha. Anyway, but when we will get to that point, I'm sure. But they just want to be able to, yeah, just spread it so that it's not like someone's one person's will is imposed upon. That's the one reason why I'm not the biggest fan of like the Super Bowl or like games where it's a one game elimination because it really is like if this one referee really wants this one team to win, they can make sure they win, and then that's it. It's not like someone else can come and change that. So, but I do agree Scott Foster should just retire. Come on, man, it's been a good run.
Yeah.
You did so well. Retire.
Yeah, I love that. But I do
Gotcha.
think this game has a lot of implications. It felt like the Pacers had it right there, and could have went up 3-1. And obviously, it's really hard to come back 3-1. It's only happened once in the NBA Finals, so that could have kind of been the series right there if they managed to close out this game at home that they were winning by 10 in the fourth quarter. They end up kind of blowing it, which we don't see them do because they've been the team doing
They've
that
been
to everybody
exactly. Yeah,
else.
yeah.
So they got pacered. They got a taste of their own medicine, so to speak.
Yes, sirs. Yes, sirs.
And now the Thunder go back home, game five, with the momentum
Momentum.
after coming back.
Hmm.
So it feels like this could have been it. Like this could have been the series. The Thunder might just kind of crush them in game five at home, and then it's really hard for the Pacers to win two in a row, game six and seven. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen here. I feel like it could have been like, if I had to say like a percentage, I would say like 70% the Thunder won because they won game four. But these are the Pacers of the 2025 playoffs that I have seen come back 5 times or something crazy like that, and they're the most resilient team ever. So I can't really count them out. That's why I'm not saying that it is over now, but it felt like a definitely a tough blow to lose this game because they had it right there, like that, right, and just couldn't close it out. So. We'll see what happens for the rest of the series. I'm very excited. Game 5 tomorrow. Definitely
Hmm.
going to be watching that. That's going to be super fun. Um, and that'll definitely be a big one.
So
Going up 3-2 is huge.
absolutely, the next three games are Monday, they are
Hmm.
Thursday, and then they're Sunday.
Okay.
So mostly that works out for me, so I can watch these games, which is
Yeah.
sick. I was also gonna say that if every game I've watched, the majority of the Pacers have won. So am I the one that's causing the
You're
numbers
the problem
or the solution?
or the solution. Yeah.
Yeah. How do you think the rest of the series is gonna go?
Yeah. I mean, I kind of just said, I think the Thunder are coming in with the momentum now. I feel like they're going to win game 5 at home. I do think, if I'm not mistaken, the Pacers haven't lost back-to-back games like the entire playoffs or something like that, something
Oh,
crazy like that.
that's crazy.
Um, so maybe they come into game 5 with a message to send themselves. Um, but yeah, this really looked like a test for a young Thunder team, despite being a 68 win team and awesome defense and all that. Um, it's hard to come back double digits on the road in the finals in the fourth quarter. And yet they did it.
Yeah.
And I feel like they proved something. So we'll see. I would still lean Thunder for sure. I think I said Thunder in 7 when the series started, and so far that's looking like an okay bet. A lot of people had Thunder in 5. Some people had Thunder in 6. I gave some respect to the Pacers, and I'm glad I did because they've made this an awesome series.
Yeah. I also was Thunder in seven, and I think what's going to happen now, I think every home team is going to win moving
Mm.
forward. I think Thunder are going to win game five, Pacers will win game six, then we'll have a game seven Sunday night in Oklahoma City. And I think they're all going to be really good games, and I'm really excited to watch them.
I
It's
think this has
been,
been no, go ahead.
no, I think you're going to say almost what I was going to say, please.
I was just say this has been the best finals in a while.
That's exactly what I was going to
Um,
say. Yeah.
well, I would say the last finals I liked this much was like Bucks Suns.
So I was going to say too. Yeah, I agree. And yeah, because it was what last year was Celtics Mavericks. That was a five-game series. Then
Yeah,
the year before was Nuggets Heat. That was a five-game series.
yeah.
And then we had the Bucks Suns 6 games because it was 2-0 Suns. And you're like, oh, Bucks are cooked. And they won four in a row. Crazy.
You skipped Warrior Celtics 22,
Because,
but that
yeah.
was like two of my least favorite teams. So
It also just wasn't, if I remember, every game was just like, oh, this team's going to win. Okay, cool. You know what I mean? It was
yeah,
just like,
yeah,
whatever.
that's the thing. It's a 2-2 series, but 3 of the 4 games have been very tightly contested games throughout. So that's a
Absolutely.
bonus.
Yeah, I'm stoked on it. Absolutely. Well, I will be watching the next few games. I hope everyone else is enjoying the NBA Finals as well. And yeah, I just want to say thank you to everyone who's been listening and keeping up with us and the finals. We have actually some big things in the works coming up. So I'm not gonna say anything right now, but
Oh,
we got some pretty cool things happening behind the scenes, and we're excited to share them soon. Not
soon,
yet, not yet,
soon. This
but
will
very
be
soon.
this operation will be changing a little bit,
Just a little bit.
just a little bit
It'll still be us, but it'll be a little different. And I think everyone that's listens is gonna like it.
better.
Anyways, Damon's gonna take the shot. And he was so close. He tried so hard. But I just want to say thank you, everyone, for listening. We really appreciate you. I hope you're enjoying the NBA Finals as much as we are. And we hope you have a great week enjoying some basketball. And this has been Two Man Game with Damon and Dom.
When we come back, we'll have an NBA champion. Buckets.